Record. Thanks, Robert. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Webinar Wednesday. My name is Kirsty Stephen. I'm an Assistive Technology and Additional Support Needs teacher here at Call Scotland. Delighted to be joined today by my colleague Joanna Courtney, who is our Specialist Speech and Language Therapist on the team. Thanks for joining me today, Jo.
Thank you for having me.
We thought that this would be an ideal time of year to talk about communication passports with preparation for upcoming transitions. I know that many Primary 7 to S1 transitions will be underway already. So today's session is being recorded thanks to my colleague Robert in the background. The recording link will follow today's webinar by email for those that aren't able to join us live. We've had a lot of sign-ups from all over the world, so they'll be able to catch up later. I would ask you to please ensure that your mics remain muted throughout today's presentation from Jo, and if you do not wish to be in the recording, then please just make sure that your camera is off now. So the webinar, as usual, will run for approximately 20 minutes, and then we'll have an opportunity to ask questions after that. If you do have questions while Jo is presenting, please just pop them in the chat. I'll keep an eye on it, and then I'll be able to facilitate that at the end. And I will now pass over to Jo. Thanks, Jo.
Thanks, Kirsty. Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. We're going to have a bit of a look at personal communication passports. From seeing some of you joining there, you're probably familiar with passports already. For some of you, it might be a new concept, but they've certainly been around for a long time. So I'm going to just go through some of the main sort of topics when it comes to passports, and show a couple of examples and talk a little bit about digital passports at the end. So quite a lot to get through in 20 minutes. We'll see how we get on. And as Kirsty says, any questions, we can deal with that at the end if Kirsty's not answered them as we go through. Okay, so what is a passport? We're going to have just to think, what exactly is this document, this resource? Who might have one? What do they look like? Who will see it and how will it be used? What will it actually say? And how do I make one for a learner? So we're going to have a look at all of these different aspects. So first of all, I'm just going to sort of signpost you to our Communication Passports website, which is one of the mini sites from the Call Scotland main page. Just to let you know as well that we're actually in the process of updating the website. So afterwards, if you have any, resources or links to other information about various forms of communication passports that you think would be useful for us to have linked to from the site, please just get in touch with me directly. Kirsty can pass on those details of how to do that. It'd be really good to hear from you. But on this Communication Passports website that we have information about creating passports, a book about passports, and various resources. So I'm just going to take you to that just now, just to have a wee look. So up here we've got the sort of main page with information about what a passport is. We've got information on creating passports, so a whole load of templates that I'm going to mention, and also the book. So this book has been around for quite a long time now, but still we still sell quite a lot of copies of it. Still really, really useful, and really goes into a lot of detail about all the sort of procedural permissions and those kind of things, and guidelines for really good practice. So Communication Passports book, as I mentioned, lots and lots of detail in there of the best ways and principles to create your passports. So what exactly is a passport? Well, it's something that gives a child or an adult a voice to share key information about themselves, to help people to get to know him or her. So we always think when it comes to communication passports, it's very much a relationship building tool. It's not something that has a lot of medical information in it. You sometimes go into a setting and they'll say they have various forms of what they think is a passport, but really it tends to be often a lot of medical information, things for staff to refer to in terms of specifics around care, which some of which is useful in a passport, but it's really more of a relationship building tool. So it's shared by the child, parents, families, and professionals, and really, really important and useful when going to new places and meeting new people. So quite often when we're out and about seeing learners in schools, a lot of the time, especially in Scotland, children might have split placements. So they're maybe in an enhanced provision in a mainstream primary, say for part of the week, and then they're maybe in a special school another part of the week. So they are having to deal with different settings, quite a lot of sort of high turnover of staff who are maybe helping them. And if you're not able to communicate your needs, it is a really, really useful tool to help new staff and new people get to know the person, get to know the learner. Another very common use of them is when somebody's going to respite. So there's lots of nice weekend respite centres that some of our learners go to. And again, having that kind of tool to go and share with new staff to help build that connection, build that relationship when you're going to a new setting is really, really important. So who might have a passport? So passports are for anyone who needs help to communicate important information about themselves. It makes sure information is shared and not lost or locked away. I mean, that's another thing. It's got to be there for people to actually have access to, not locked in a filing cabinet somewhere, and saves misunderstandings. Gives people good best ideas about how to help a learner. And again, we get this fed back to us a lot, saves parents or carers or staff from saying the same things over and over again. When someone new comes along or someone doesn't know something, they can just refer them to the passport and they can really get that key information. That's when it's really important that they're kept up to date, of course, as well, which we'll say a little bit about later. So this is another sort of format of passport that I'm going to mention, one of the templates on our website. So this is a kind of trifold leaflet. So of course, passports come in lots of different forms, depending on the person who's using it and their sort of style and the way they want to have it presented. But this is quite popular, this trifold leaflet template. Because it's something really easy, something, quite age appropriate in terms of just having it to share with somebody. And it's got all the key information and quite easy to make as well, because for those of you who've tried to make a communication passport, it is, it's not a quick job. It's something that involves consulting the learner, the team around the learner, pulling the information together. So there are various templates to help you do that in whichever way is most appropriate in your setting. So what does it look like? Well, it's always written from the child's point of view, or the person who's using the passport's point of view. So written in the first person and is easy to understand. So it should have photos, pictures, so it's an enjoyable thing for the child to be reading it and will want to show it off and want to be involved in adding new things to it. And I think in this kind of digital age of having photos that maybe learners have got on a device or on an iPad in school, for example, they always love showing you their photos of things they've been doing. So and that should, that you'd think that would hopefully make it easier to kind of keep things up to date and keep it as an enjoyable tool that the child will want to use. They can be made in a variety, a wide range of formats, so printed out, just like a printed leaflet, or digital for tablet or iPad or PC. And I'm going to just show you a wee example in a wee while of a digital version of a passport. So who will see it and how will it be used? So it can be useful at home, socially. We've mentioned this with family, friends, babysitters, foster carers, etc. Very valuable in school with new staff, friends or buddies. And especially in respite hospital or clinics where staff may work different shifts or don't have time to read really long files. It can be really, really handy for those kind of scenarios. And the learners that I'm thinking of, who one of the main priority has been to have a passport, tend to be a lot of the time are children with quite high medical needs who are in hospital a lot, and the families are aware that they'll be meeting lots of new people and they want them to know these key things about the person. So what will a passport say? What's going to be in it? So it tells other people the things that matter to that child. So it's the things that they would want someone to know about them. So it can include things like how you can help me understand, how I communicate, important people in my life and places I like to go, special things. So that could be things or toys or things that you like to do, things I'd like and don't like. So that can often be really, really important to saying that if there's really things that really upset somebody, it's good to obviously know those so you can avoid them, and keeping me safe. So how can I make one with a learner? Well, because they're very personal, every passport is and should be different. It can't just be a kind of come off the shelf. Passport is created by a team of people that know the child or the person best. So a core team we would usually recommend of 2 or 3 people, ideally including a parent, with one person coordinating. And then they can consult and add more by a wider group. But it's really good to have the sort of one person coordinating it, who's kind of responsible for making sure it's updated and sort of pulling everything together. And as I mentioned, there are several different passport templates. So in the creating passport section of the website, you can see here there's a basic PowerPoint template for children, and there's an adult version as well for sort of teens and older learners. And then we've got this mini call passport, this trifold leaflet that you can download. That's just a Word document that you can edit and put your own pictures in and text, but laid out so it appears like this, like a leaflet that can be printed out and shared. A whole load of other information on there about other types of passports made by other organisations, one-page passports, some digital templates for Word, and mealtime passport placemats, so some information about those for hospital settings as well. So lots to go and have a look at afterwards. So a sort of example of a template of the full PowerPoint template. So this is a learner I was working with. This is some of the things that they came up with her to have in her communicate page. So the things that please do, give me plenty of choices, give me visuals, don't ask me lots of questions, don't use complicated language. You can see that. Fun things that she likes to do, and things about her eating and drinking. And then, of course, this was really important to her, the things that she really doesn't like. I can't stand it. So I think those sound pretty reasonable to me. So the example passports, the mini trifold template, here's an example here, and Sally Miller, who was one of the pioneers of passports back in the early 90s, who was one of the coordinators of CALL from the beginning. When she retired, we got together and made a passport with her consulted in it, of course, as well. She couldn't be left out of it. So you can come up with the key information. It's got information there about keeping up to date and kind of who's responsible, and when it was last updated, which is quite handy to know as well. And then you can fill in all the information about the person. So this is the kind of things that we filled in for Sally. So things about me: I'm a hard worker. I love singing and playing the ukulele. Things I'm good at: organising people and events. Tricky things, which is always hard to think about: bad spelling and grammar. Bureaucracy. So lots of things there. So thinking about the kind of things to put in your own passport can be a really, really useful exercise. And we would recommend when we do any passports training, one of the activities that we would do is to give a blank template and to get people to actually think about what they would put in their own passport if they couldn't speak, couldn't communicate, and they wanted people to know those key things about them. And it's quite a good exercise just to do that yourself and have a think about what you would want people to know about you. And the things that come up quite often are, some of the things are easy to come up with, but some things you really maybe need to ask other people about. And it really does show that kind of having a team of people around a person's useful, because they'll pick out different things that other people might not have thought of. And also, just what's the really important things that you would want somebody to know. So as I say, we've done this in a couple of trainings, and you get some really interesting comments that come out of it, of people getting quite stuck of things that they might put in a passport, or also people that could fill 3 templates in their passport, and also sort of having them anonymously and reading them afterwards and thinking about who that person might be and if you can identify them from what they've said. So it can just be a really good activity just to think about what your learners might want to have in their passports too. So when I mentioned about digital passport, we've had a little go at sort of looking at a template for a digital book creator passport. So the way that works is taking the trifold leaflet, picking out sort of key things with the person whose passport it is that they might want to have in a digital book, and kind of incorporating the full trifold leaflet into their book creator book. So I'm just going to show you that just now. So here's an example here of a few of the pages. And in a minute, I'm just going to pull up my iPad and show you that. Okay, so here's, for those of you who might know Book Creator, it's a very popular app that we use a lot and is used a lot in schools in Scotland. So this is a communication passport made for a little boy. And the nice thing about Book Creator is you can have your recording voice.
Hiya, please read my passport.
Which is nice, which you get a friend or a family member to record. And then when you press play, it actually reads like a book. So it's a really nice digital book. So there's a bit about me, what's inside.
There's lots of things in here to learn about me.
And these are just taken from the headings from the template. So a little bit about where you're born, a little bit about where they live. The nice thing about Book Creator as well is you can put in some videos. So I've just taken some screen recording, say of a video maybe of a communication strategy, or you could have a video of the person using their communication aid, and then you can just input that and add it into Book Creator just as an image, just from the camera roll on your iPad. So that would just play the little video there.
You can really help.
Me? But how?
Communication is a two-way process.
So you can have a video playing. You can also link to a PDF. So say if there was a symbol resource maybe that is used a lot, or communication board, you can then add a PDF in, and that would open up that full PDF. So you can also open a file that's on your iPad. You can also play, so this is a video of actually somebody showing how they use their communication aid.
Now, what can I get for you?
Can I have orange juice, please?
An orange juice, yes, certainly. That's £1.85, please. That's lovely, thank you very much. I've given you £2. There we are.
Thank you.
Judith's just getting your orange juice for you because the machine's a bit temperamental.
Can you take my drink to the table, please?
So as you can see, that was a really nice little interaction there with good listening and waiting for him to communicate as well. You can also take screenshots of anything from YouTube, for example, if there are certain things, or music or anything that the person likes too. And you can also add a web link into Book Creator too. And then at the end, we've just done a link to that mini trifold leaflet. You can then have the full information at the back there, but then the learner can just decide the key things that they would like to have in their digital book. The other nice thing about Book Creator is you can have read to me as well. So you can decide how it's read. If you want to have different voices from the iPad, which you could use. We would be looking at using the Seraplay app with the Scottish voices in it. You can highlight the words, turn automatically, so it's got that accessibility, literacy side to it as well, which is really nice. So that's a digital passport, and we've just done a little Chatterpix at the end. There's another nice wee free app where you can take a photo and make it talk.
Important people to me are my mum, my dad, my little sister.
My little sister just went a bit funny there, but you can take a picture, put a mouth on it, and have it speak out. So it's another sort of fun way to add a multimedia resource to your passport. So that's a Book Creator example there. Okay, so just to kind of finish off, best practice and top tips. So I think the main things to keep in mind are we're recognising the fact that every person should have a voice and to be able to have their needs met. Making a passport in the first place shows that that voice is respected. It's a means of representing the individual's perspectives and priorities. And it's also a big responsibility. So knowledge is power. If we know these things about a learner and they can't communicate it for themselves, we carry a responsibility helping create this passport and to keep it updated so it's appropriate for the learner. Passport ownership, so that it really is the person's own passport, their own book for sharing. It's not to be locked away in a cupboard anywhere. Writing in the child or the learner or the adult's voice, so it's them speaking through the book. Making sure as far as possible involving and consulting the children or the learner or the adult as the book's being made. Think about the presentation design, what their kind of style is when you're making the book too. Very much a team effort, and having that key person that's sort of responsible for updating on a regular basis, or getting updates on the information. Confidentiality issues, just keeping track of that, and any issues around sharing passports. And there's more about that on the website as well in the resources. And yeah, just using it, making it fun, making it something the person really wants to share, to show you. Because when you know about a person, when you have that common ground, just it's such a great tool for building that relationship from which the real learning and the real communication can happen. So definitely something that is becoming, we're getting asked about a lot more at the moment. Sometimes these things go in sort of phases, but communication passports definitely high on the agenda just now. And as I say, if you have any questions or any comments or any passport resources or tips that you would like to share, I would really love to hear from you. So thanks for listening, and hope that was helpful in getting you started.
Jo, thanks very much. I love thinking about that now as a relationship building tool. I hadn't thought of it like that before, but yeah, I really like that phrase. I actually made a note of it. If anyone's got any questions, please pop them into the chat. Just thinking there, Jo, you're talking about involving the child themselves in the creation of the passport. Thinking about the learners that you support, a lot of who use AAC devices, how would you support them to input on their communication passport?
Yeah, I suppose it's to do with, if they've got a communication device, obviously that makes it easier, because then they'd be able to actually go through and pick things that they would want to go in it. I think photos, sort of using photos is a good way for learners who maybe can't communicate, but you would be able to respond to show them pictures. And with that sort of digital age of Most places you go, they've certainly got photos on a device or that are shared through school in various ways. So using those as a tool to see what would sort of preferences would be good too. But yes, no, it is obviously tricky. It requires, that's why it's important, I suppose, who's chosen to sort of be in this team, and why the parent is obviously an integral part of it as well, because they know the child best. But yeah, that's the tricky thing about it. But yeah, I think it's just keeping the child at the centre of it, and having people that really know them well, and making sure it's updated. I think that's. But yeah, it's an ongoing process.
Janelle's just asking, can you show how to access the digital passport?
Do you mean the one I just showed you in Book Creator?
I'm assuming that's what.
That's not actually on the website as yet, that template. But if it's something that would be, is that the one you meant?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not on the website yet, but I could send you a version of it.
Oh, lovely. Thank you. Yeah, that would be really handy.
Yeah, I can just say it because it's all anonymous, it's a sort of made up scenario. So
yeah.
I could send you if you get in touch.
I'll put your email address further up the chat, Jo, so
that's
Janelle
fine,
will be able to get.
Just get in touch.
I was just going to ask you just see if anyone else has got any questions, but I was just going to ask you as well, Jo, how easy would it be for a learner to have a communication passport on their AAC device itself? Would that be?
I mean, it depends on what format it was made in. Yeah, I mean, if it was in Book Creator or something, I mean, they could just even have the PDF of it on their device if they didn't have the app. But if they had the app, I mean, it would be easy enough to do that. If it's in something where you don't have that kind of app, then I suppose, having an accessible PDF version would probably be the way around that. But yeah, that's something to consider, of how to build them in, build them into an
just building up that independence of them being able to share it themselves.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. And knowing, I mean, quite often, they'll do things like maybe on a wheelchair have a symbol saying, please ask to see my passport, to sort of prompt people to look at it. But, as we move forward sort of digitally, there should be other ways that the learner can independently do that. So yeah, that's definitely something for me to go and explore as well, of how to kind of integrate them into your AAC system.
Yeah.
Great question.
Somebody asking, have we ever had issues with GDPR?
Well, it always comes up. People sort of ask about that, but I think there's more information about it on the website, but it seems to be dealt with in various settings in terms of that person giving permission for their information to be shared. So there's a bit more about that, Gail, on the website, but it's a good question because it does come up about photos and sharing. But if that person has it on their own device and they're giving permission, that tends to get around that. Love the idea of including videos. I think you have a pupil who uses a few adapted on body signs. It's ideal for that. Yep.
Nice.
Yep.
Thanks for sharing that, Sandra.
Yeah. All the templates come up with page not found. Right, okay, we'll go and have a wee look at that.
We'll investigate that, yeah.
Yeah, maybe there's a wee blip. Can you share the slides? What do you usually do, Kirstine, for that?
So the presentation will be uploaded to the archive. The recording will be on the archive as well, so it'll be available for people to have a look at from there.
Right, so the slides, you just put a PDF up for there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so they'll be up beside the video. Anybody else got anything else that they'd like to say or questions?
Oh yeah, somebody's saying it could be the person's firewall. Yeah, maybe try it on a different browser, perhaps.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Right. Thank you everybody for joining us today. Thanks again, Jo, for your presentation. We are back next Wednesday for our final webinar of the 24-25 session. We'll be joined by Emma Buchanan, who's a teacher in Dumfries and Galloway, who's going to be sharing how they use Book Creator, mention Book Creator again, of this time as a homeschool communication link. So look forward to seeing some of you there maybe. Thanks very much for joining us, everyone, and have a good evening.
Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye now.